What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the New York Sports Take. This is episode number 5. I'm your host, Matt O'Connor. I'm riding solo today. No co-host, no Andrew Huber or Andrew Nadler or Tom Fitz on board with us. It's just me to run down the Week 8 action from our local NFL teams, the Jets and the Giants. Jets ultimately getting the better result, getting in the W column for the first time of the season, and the Giants unable to sweep the Eagles in the season series, falling at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles. Final score 38-20 from Lincoln Financial. But we have to start off on the positive end of things. The New York Jets get their first victory of the year. Just a tremendous win for Nick Mangold, who tragically died at the ridiculously young age of 40, I believe 40 or 41. A tremendous win for Justin Fields, a much maligned quarterback who faced criticisms, took shots from the owner earlier in the week on Tuesday. And for Aaron Glenn to be able to get into the win column, huge monkey off his back, one of the unfortunate coaches in NFL history to start their head coaching tenure with such an abysmal record. But you look across the league, Kyle Shanahan had similar results and some other really successful coaches throughout the league. So we're all pulling for Glenn. But you just got to start off with Nick Mangold. I feel it would be disingenuous for me to go in another direction. First thing top of mind when you think of this game. So many parallels drawn. I think Rich Cimini, the beat reporter, a really good tweet about some of the different things to consider about the Jets' win on the day of Mangold's passing. It took place in Cincinnati, which is just about 45 miles north of where Nick Mangold had grown up in Centerville, Ohio, which is not too far from where I am right now, even closer. Centerville is to Dayton, where I go to school, than Cincinnati. One of the neighboring cities of Dayton, and the Jets getting the win there where he grew up. A few other things. Mason Taylor, the son of Jason Taylor, catching the game-winning touchdown. One of Mangold's teammates was Jason Taylor. Just truly, this will be marked as the Mangold miracle. Tragic. Lost an all-time Jet, a future Hall of Famer, a 7-time Pro Bowler, but more importantly, everybody will glowingly talk about the person that Nick Mangold was. Everybody loved him. He had such a special relationship with so many people and is just emblematic of one of the great Jets, honestly, of all time, and everything that it meant to be a Jet, to take the field every Sunday and pridefully represent one of the proudest organizations out there, not in terms of winning, obviously, but for a lot of younger Jet fans, unfortunately, I kind of missed the window, but for Jet fans between the ages of 20 to 40, the most successful era of Jets football took place with Nick Mangold kind of spearheading those Rex Ryan teams, being at the center on the offensive line, those ground and pound teams that just played defense, that ran the ball, that did all those things. Nick Mangold was the representation of that team with the Berkshire Ferguson and him and whatever draft class they were. I heard Joe Beningo say it, and it rings, and it's definitely true, is that's probably the best Jet draft class of all time, including the 2022. Yeah, a couple young kids at home, a devoted father, a devoted husband, a great human being, a great football player, and a terrible, terrible loss. We lost him way too young. And when the news had come out a couple weeks ago that he needed a kidney, it was sad and everything, but you just figured he'd find a way, that somebody would get it to him. You never think for it to turn around that fast and for him to now be gone. It is super, super sad. I think everybody was shocked when they found out the news. Jets finding out the news just a couple hours prior to kickoff, or maybe even less than that. So really, really sad. Nick was watching that one from heaven. The Jets able to get their first view of the season in Week 9. A big one. Justin Fields was amazing. As I said, a really emotional week for him as well. The owner practically pinning all the blame for the 0-7 start on him, calling him out, saying he can't complete a pass and whatever, and his quarterback rating. And of all the things that you could criticize about Justin Fields, his quarterback rating is not one of them. He has been far from perfect. He's been pretty much since week one the worst version of Justin Fields imaginable, which is a bad one. But the quarterback rating was not the thing to attack. But it's Woody Johnson, and he pretty much says all the wrong things, and everything that comes out of his mouth is like mishmash. So, of course, he attacks Justin on the wrong end of things. But a huge performance. His best game since week one, probably. 21 of 32, 244 yards, 1 touchdown. And man, it looks so different out there for him this week. I give credit to Tanner Ingstred, OC. Definitely felt like we played the offense within the parameters of Fields better. Last week against Carolina, he played that first half. Everything just looked so out of rhythm for him on the 3-step dropbacks. He could not get anything going, not getting the ball out on time, just timid. Same thing in Denver when he took the 9 sacks, timid, afraid to throw the ball. Really, once the ball was in play, he didn't want to do anything with it. He actually had some intention in this game, some purpose. Really got out of the pocket well, 7 designed runs, which I don't know why. They had a lot of designed runs that play for him in week one, but they diverted away from that since then. And more designed runs in this game, able to, and credit to Tiki Barber who pointed this out. After watching the game, I did realize this. It felt like the offense was asking him to do something he wasn't comfortable with, which is 3-step drop back, pin your ears back and sling the ball and get the ball. That's not who Justin Fields is. Even when he's playing at his best like he did in this game, he's never going to be the guy to go on a 3-step drop back and be able to deliver the ball on time with accuracy. He's a run-first quarterback. He's going to use his legs. He's going to get off his spot. He does have a cannon of an arm, but he's never going to be that traditional Aaron Rodgers type quarterback. And they actually allowed him, he was getting deep outside the pocket, 5 to 7 step dropbacks, as Tiki pointed out, and it just bred a lot more success for him. Felt like he was able to find guys over the middle of the field. Tyler Johnson with a big game. His best throws were probably to Tyler Johnson, the touchdown at the end of the half. Really good play there from Justin. For pretty much, if we don't score, if you point to a lot of things at this game, and if the Jets didn't come through in some of those 4th downs, they don't come out on the winning side of this one. But they did, time and time again, coming up big on 4th down. And on that one, in the waning minutes of the second half, 4th and 2, I believe it was, and Fields finding Tyler Johnson on a nice loft in the back of the end zone. This was a really good play. There was a corner blitz or a safety blitz, pressure coming from the weak side, right in Fields' face, hands up and everything, and he got the ball out and delivered a perfect one-on-one pass for Tyler Johnson in the back of the end zone. Nice loft pass. Johnson used outside leverage on that one. Former Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl champ, and credit to him, man. He made it work with the limited weapons he had. We're talking a bottom of the barrel receiving corps. In all honesty, we got to be brutally honest with ourselves. And Arian Smith, Allen Lazard, and Tyler Johnson, but he made do with what he had. Delivered some great balls, came up big in the 4th down and the second to last scoring drive to Jeremy Ruckert, finding him over the middle. Big block from Isaiah Davis there, who also had a sensational game. Big 50-yard run that he had to kind of spark the run game going. Breece Hall had a monster game as well. 18 carries, 133 yards from scrimmage, 2 rushing touchdowns, and obviously the game-winning passing touchdown to Mason Taylor in the back of the end zone. Great job by Taylor to high point that ball and come down with it to get us the win. But what an offensive showing. I mean, from a team that 10 quarters prior to this game could not find the back of the end zone. 6 points against whatever it was against the Broncos, and then just a complete explosion. 502 yards of offense, 254 yards on the ground. Their largest running output since 2021. What an offensive showing. And that's kind of the Justin Fields / Breece Hall experience. They're just inconsistent. Even Breece, who by a lot of accounts, rushing yards wise, has had another really strong season, but inconsistent. But both of them, big boy performances to get their Jets their first win. And as bad as the defense was pretty much throughout that entire game, They came up, they made the big plays when they had to at the end. Will McDonald with a monster sack on the Bengals' second to last offensive possession. They have to punt. We get the ball back. We get downfield. And Arian Smith, who actually did nothing pretty much all day. Justin Fields had to make some throws to get ourselves in a position to score a touchdown and be able to take the lead and then get the stop and win the game. And Fields did exactly that in the big moment. He had the 23-yard pass to Arian Smith. Then after that, I think it was a 9-yard run from Breece Hall. Isaiah Williams gets a first down. It was a great final drive. And then obviously the halfback option to top it off. What a play. What a sensational play that was. Apparently they had been practicing it for weeks upon weeks in practice. And Tyler Johnson, he said, we knew that this was going to be a touchdown play. It was just a matter of when they used it. They used it, the biggest play of their season. First down, minute 52 on the clock. Fields takes the snap, pitches it over to Breece. Breece faked some Cincinnati defenders. Underrated part of this play, in my opinion, is Breece didn't immediately hold the ball as if he was going to go in a throwing motion and look for Taylor. That would have given it away and maybe given some Bengals linebackers extra time to get back and try and deflect the pass to the back of the end zone. Made it look like he was going to run. Drew in 5 Bengals defenders. Then he got into the throwing motion. Probably could have gotten rid of the ball right then and there. Taylor was open, but he pumped fake, and then Turner, the Bengals corner, was able to get his hands up on the back of Taylor, but still Taylor just enough room. A very well-delivered ball by a running back in Breece Hall, and great job by Taylor, high-pointing it, catching it above the helmet, and landing with 2 feet in the zone. Great job. Again, Hall probably didn't have to pump fake, but he did going down the sideline because he wasn't sure if Taylor was open, but then he releases it, and a nice catch and a big moment, the biggest moment of the season. But at that point in time, still just about a minute 52 left on the clock, and we were all thinking to themselves at that point in time, well, this game is far from over. Joe Flacco and the Bengals have had a monster day in the air. Just find Jamar Chase on a couple gashers over the middle. They're going to get themselves in field goal range for McPherson, and they're probably going to win this game. I mean, if you're a Jet fan and you've watched all 7 games, I myself, and you probably as well, we're still, even though it was a great touchdown, great moment, Jets finally, they chip and chip and chip and chip away throughout that game and take the lead. We're still all thinking to ourselves, okay, we're still going to blow this here. And, Flacco, I don't know what the hell he was doing in the tent there, whether he was taking a dump or whatever he was doing. Apparently it was an injury, but he was in and then right out. Very strange. So he comes out of the tunnel like Willis Reed coming out of the tunnel for the Knicks. Big cheers from the crowd. You're thinking he's going to go right down the field, but the Jets do come out and they get to stop. Big plays from the a defense that really stunk pretty much all day long. Came up huge on that final possession. Let's see, I'm trying to find the some of the highlight. 5 yards, Isaiah Williams, 9 yards, final drive highlights. Let's just hand our applause out to Jamien Sherwood, who was at second or third down. I wish I had somebody on for me at a moment like this. Help me refresh my memory. When Sherwood with the pass deflection, it was Yosevich, somebody wide open over the middle of the field. Flacco delivers the ball a little bit late, and it's right in this guy's hands, and Jamien with a really nice backwards pass breakup deflects that. That was a huge stop. And then Jarvis Brownlee, who, tip your cap to Darren Bougie, and also give a big round hug to the Tennessee Titans for letting this guy go for a 7th round pick, because he has been really great in a Jet uniform out of the slot nickel position. He jammed the Princeton kid, whatever his name, Yosevich, broke up the pass, game over with a minute 48 to go. Jets come back out onto the field and earn a W. Yeah, that was a minute 48 left. So, great job. I mean, those are the highlights right there. Just getting gashed all day by Chase Brown and that Bengals offensive attack. Seemed like every time the Jets scored, the defense would disappoint on the other end and let the Bengals extend their lead until those last two final drives. They stepped up and were able to make big plays, starting with the Will McDonald sack on the second to last possession, and then of course Sherwood and Brownlee coming up big pass deflections to end the game. And yeah, credit to the game planning too, because going into the week, Glenn said, the lesson he learned from Bill Belichick, he was not going to let the Bengals stars beat us. He was not going to let Jamar Chase or T. Higgins beat us. And on the final play of that game, they were both double teamed. Go make the other guys make a play. And, Brownlee's on an island one-on-one with Yosevich, and he jams it up. He gets to stop. We weren't going to let Jamar or Higgins beat us on that play, and Brownlee comes up big time, earns the Jets their first win of the season. So proud of the team, man. Who knows where it goes from here, but it just feels good. It felt good to have a victory Monday. Was that now 2 days ago? It's Wednesday. A little disappointed we're getting the recording out this late. Great to see an offensive explosion. And man, what a shame on that Bengals defense. They allowed 502 yards to the 32nd, the worst ranked offense in football going into this one. Tall was amazing. Really haven't given enough flowers to him. 27-yard touchdown run, 5-yard touchdown run as well. 33 yards on the day. He had 53 rushing yards and the rushing touchdown and passing touchdown in the fourth quarter. He said going into the week, put it on me, man. Put the shoulders of this one on me. If we go down, I want it to be on me. We're without our number one offensive weapon in Garrett Wilson. If we're going to, the offense ought to run through me. I am our second biggest weapon. And if we don't win this one, it's on me. And he stepped up. He got 21 touches. He said, I need between 20 and 25 touches, including the pass. 21 touches on the day for him. The coaches listened to him really well. I thought, like I said in the beginning of this, I thought Ingstred played really well to Fields' strengths in this one. Fields was really good at delivering the ball accurately to his receivers, especially some of the sharper passes to Tyler Johnson over the middle. Big play to Ruckert, and an overall really nice win. And the Jets beat Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco 1-8 in his time as Jets quarterback, and bye week. So yeah, and for once, I think the Jets are favored in the bye week, so we're in really good shape, Joke. So really nice way to go into the bye week as well, with the taste of a win in Aaron Glenn and this coaching staff's mouths. And then we see the Browns, another Ohio team, comes to East Rutherford, New Jersey, as we host them. And that's a really tough defense. You would like to think after this offensive output, an explosion and whatever. That's why a bye week kind of really hurts him in this way. You would like to keep that momentum moving right into this Sunday, and they have a whole another week. But hopefully they still get that offensive mojo going against a much tougher defense. We probably went from facing the worst defense in football, no offense to which tops our bad defense and the Cowboys, to probably the best defense and certainly the best pass rush with Myles Garrett in the NFL. So a big test and challenge coming up in a couple weeks there from MetLife, but a lot to build on off of this win for the Jets, the Mangold Miracle W, and we will not finish 0-17. Big for the team morale, big for AG, big for Muji. His guys showed up and played. Justin Fields, who we paid $30 million to. That was the Fields that we paid. That was a Brownlee that we traded for. What a steal that was. Run defense was bad, man. Run defense, we're one of the best run-stuffing teams in the league going into this one. The only thing that this bad defense this season was hanging their hat on was the run defense. We had averaged about, I think it was the guy on the broadcast for CBS had mentioned, the Jets were stuffing runs at the highest rate, which is stopping a run at the line of scrimmage or back further. The Jets were stuffing runs at a 25% clip at the time. And that game, they stuffed twice. Bengals were averaging around 8 yards per carry. I think they rushed for like 184 yards. They were gashing us all day. I know Chase Brown is good, but a lot to clean up on that end. Ugly performance from the defense until those last two drives. But it was enough. It was enough. The Jets were chippy. They easily could have rolled over and died in that one, but they kept fighting, and they get the win. All right, let's roll over to the Giants at this point in time. Tough loss out in Philadelphia. I had Andrew Nadler on the last podcast, and I just said I genuinely thought, even though it was encouraging as that win was 2 weeks ago against the Eagles, it felt like a really tall task to sweep the defending champs, and they were unable to do that. Jackson Dart wasn't terrible throughout the game, just short of about 200 yards passing, with a really depleted set of weapons to throw the football to. He did what he could, didn't really turn the ball over, wasn't on his shoulders. Obviously, the most devastating news out of this one was the dislocated ankle of Cam Scadaboo in the second quarter. It looks like Jackson Dart is now going to be without his, well, it not looks like, he is going to be without his top two weapons on offense now for the rest of the season, which is just brutal, man. Just brutal. I mean, this poor kid, he gets thrusted into the starting job just a few weeks into the season, shows immediate success right away in his first game, a W against the Chargers. Obviously ugly, losing his top receiver in that one. Beats the Eagles, just showed so many signs of positivity, but he keeps getting screwed by the injuries around him. And now he is with a really lackluster set of weapons the rest of the way, and a tough, daunting schedule ahead of him as well. Not enough, man. It's just simply not enough. I mean, you could talk about how bad the refs were in this game, especially in the tush push, which is becoming an increasingly hot controversy across the NFL, across football. And the weird thing about that is, I guess we'll transition into that now, is that the issue with the tush push that's been persistent over the last few weeks, it's been an issue on the back end of it, and how teams defensively, did I say the back end? It's been an issue on the front end, and how the Eagles are virtually, the offensive line is getting a jump start without false starts being called, and it's an uneven playing field for the defense. But this was an issue in terms of forward progress. I mean, what was it? They were at the Giants' 11-yard line into their own territory, 4th and 1, and Hurts takes the snap, and it is clear that he was still in motion with the ball. His progress was still moving at that point in time, and as Dean Blandino had said on the broadcast, you want to, in the tush push or any quarterback sneak, you want to see how the play is going to end up. If they're still moving forward with the ball, forward progress, the whistle should not be blown yet. But that was just not the case. The referees had ruled forward progress before Hurts was finished with his motion. And in that motion, he lost the ball, and Kayvon Thibodeau, credit to him, sort of just manhandling it out of the arms of Jalen Hurts. And that was just a play in which was totally misofficiated and could have totally entirely changed the game. But still, I still don't think the Giants are winning that game, but there's no doubt it did change the complexion of the game moving forward. Completely botched call there, especially when he is still moving forward with the ball. It seems like, I don't know if the refs necessarily are trying to give the Eagles an inherent advantage with this, but they just are. I mean, they are on the front end, back end, the forward progress stuff. That was not the irony of it. If it was forward progress, it would have been Giants ball there anyway, and the fumble would have upheld. You want to see the progress stop before you kill the play. Simple as that. But the Giants defense once again getting gashed in the run game. Saquon, 150 yards on 14 carries, 65 yards score, second play of the game, 2 rushing touchdowns. Probably would have even been worse if he didn't leave the game with an injury in the second half. And man, Saquon needed that. I mean, he had 2 big runs to start the game against the Giants in their loss a couple weeks ago. But he hasn't. The thing with Saquon and what made him have a historic season last year were those big gash plays. He just hasn't been able to get that going this year until this game when he was able to get the explosives. He did not have a rush of 20-plus yards in the first 7 games, 2 on Sunday. And as I said, key to their success for him last year was those kind of plays. He had 17 rushes at 20-plus yards last season. They ran all over him, 277 rushing yards for the Eagles over the Giants. Saquon, big game, set the tone in the first quarter, and then once you lose Scat, Giants had tied the game in, I believe, the first quarter on a Scadaboo touchdown, which was a really nice play on a little crosser. But after that, the Giants were just depleted. Darts did have some highlight throws still at that point in time, but Theo Johnson still not being able to catch the ball. Feels like Theo does a really nice job of creating space over the middle of the field, but catching continues to be a problem with him as it was last year. Secondary stunk once again. Adebo was out with the knee. Javon Holland also out with the knee. And that really showed. That secondary picked up right where they left off against Denver. Really, really bad. Hurts was able to keep the good vibes going that he created against Minnesota in the passing game. And the Eagles were the Eagles. Vic Fangio was not going to let Dart have those big, huge scramble runs that he had against them last game. He was able to limit him to 2 scrambles, I think, and both of them were in the first quarter, totaling just 9 yards. So Fangio, he was going to come prepared. He did. Eagles defense was great. And yeah, now you're 2-6. Now you only have one more win than the Jets. How about that? With a really tough schedule on the 49ers rolling into MetLife next week. Tough loss for those G-men. Where do they go from here? Are they buyers at the trade deadline? At this point in time for the New York Sports Take, I do want to get into that later in the week. Hopefully we can have a guest on and just get a little bit more into the weeds about these teams and the future outlook of the season and whatnot. But for now, I just wanted to kind of run down the recap of the Week 8 action with these two clubs and see where we're at. So 1-7 with the New York Jets, 2-6 with the Giants, less than ideal, but hey, vibes are up for Gang Green and vibes are down for the other squad in the Meadowlands. Hopefully they could get back on track with a dub over those Mac Jones-led 49ers, although that Robert Saleh defense looks good. They got their first interception of the year this Sunday. And yeah, I am out of time for now. I do have to get to work, but thank you guys so much for listening to this. Sorry, this episode's coming out on Wednesday when we're kind of already looking towards next week's games, but of course I had to come on the pod and express my excitement about the Jets getting a win and talk about the Giants a little bit as well. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time right here on the New York Sports Take.